to another vlog. Today marks the official day that I left Adelaide 5 years ago today to move to Brisbane. So I thought it was only fitting that I would give you my top 10 tips to moving interstate. I don't know if any of you are thinking about moving, in the process of moving, or kind of it's an idea. So I thought I would give you my take on it. I know there's lots of websites that give you your top 10 tips, but I thought I'd give you my take on it because I've actually done it. So, sorry, I've got a few notes on my laptop. So my number one tip is to start packing early. This was actually made quite easy for me. So in 2015, I had come back from holidays in Brisbane. We'd gone to Brisbane for my dad's birthday. I'd come back, and the day I got back, I gave my notice, my 4 weeks notice, which in turn made it easier for me because I actually finished me up on the day. Bit of a shell shock because I didn't expect that. I expected to still have 4 weeks, but it gave me enough time to be able to pack. So I got back in February, at the beginning of February, so I think it gave me about 6 or 7 weeks to pack everything that I needed. Now, bear in mind that I had been in an 8-year relationship previous to this. So my 8-year relationship ended in 2012. And I had been living out of home since I was about 18. Now my relationship ended at about 24, which I ended, and then I moved back home. So I still had, although I didn't have furniture, I still had quite a few of my knickknacks and stuff like that. So I had that still all stored in my parents' spare room, which is still there currently. But I pretty much only had my room to pack up. My bed is still there, which we already had a bed here. So my bed was there, my bed's still there, my TV unit's still there, my TV's still there. So for those of you that don't know, my husband was originally in Brisbane. So we met in 2014 through work. This is a little bit of a backstory. We met through work, just on the phone. Then we were just emailing all day, and we just kind of clicked. Then we started chatting became friends on Facebook, started chatting on Messenger. And because I hadn't had the best experience with guys after my relationship, I kind of wouldn't give my number just yet, especially since I didn't know him. He lived in Brisbane, I lived here. It was a bit hard. Then we eventually started talking on the phone, and I invited him to come down just to kind of meet up to see Adelaide. We met up and instantly connected. It was like I found the missing puzzle piece to my heart. Yes, corny and cliche, I know. So we spent about a week together, and we just clicked. It was like finding the other half of me, finding my best friend. And I think 3 days before he left, or maybe the night before, on the 6th of May, we decided to make it official that we were going to start dating. He went back to Brisbane. We did long distance for about a year. Probably in about June of 2014, we had decided, or I had decided, I needed to move. I needed to get out of the rut that I was in Adelaide. I just needed a fresh start, new change. But two things that were holding me back from moving straight away was I was in the Pan Pacs Olympics which is held on the Gold Coast every 2 years. So I had been training for that since February, which I couldn't just up and move and leave the girls in not in ruins, but yeah, I just couldn't leave them. There's my commitment and loyalty. And then my best friend was getting married in February of 2015, which I wanted to be there for as a bridesmaid. I wanted to make sure that I was there for her 120%. So I stayed for then, but we kind of just planned the holiday that we're going on in January. We got back in February, that I would give my notice as soon as I got back. Cool. Long story short. So I only had my room to pack up. So before we left, Jamie had already got a house. He'd already got furniture, everything like that. So I left my bed there for when we go back, and I left my TV, everything like that. So I still have stuff there, but I just had my room to pack up, my clothes. I did go through my belongings, but I'll get to that later. So start packing early. That is my number one tip. Obviously, if you're moving your whole house, if you've got kids and stuff, it makes it a lot harder. But if you can, I guess, get people to help you, get family members to help you, that way it kind of eliminates it a little bit more. Number two, get the correct packing supplies. Like, don't drop out and get cheap stuff. Get proper packing supplies. So boxes, in terms of boxes, you can buy them from Bunnings in different sizes, which is what I did. Can be a little bit costly. I mean, I guess packing up a house for me, it wasn't so much because I had only my room to pack up. But for people that I guess are on a budget, that have a big house, you can get a lot of boxes from Woolworths, only really small boxes from Bottleos, etc. But try different outlets like Officeworks, different places that things come in boxes that they probably won't need anymore. That way it's a little bit more cost effective. Then that way you can grab all different size boxes and pack them all up. Or if, a good thing is maybe Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace to see if anybody's got any spare boxes lying around. That's always handy. I know that when I move, I either put it up on Facebook. I don't really use Gumtree, but I just give them away for free because it sucks buying boxes. I've done it a couple of times now. So boxes is a massive one. Tape. Buy the big things of tape, not the little stuff, the big rolls. Also the tape gun that it fits in. It literally is a gun that flips it over, and a lot of you have probably used it before. I didn't know about it until I worked at a food wholesaler, and that's what we used to pack our boxes for the food. So I found that super handy to just have one of those. Next thing is bubble wrap. So if you've got your knickknacks, you've got your glasses, bubble wrap and newspaper. I used both to make sure I didn't have obviously didn't have a lot of glasses and stuff like that. If you don't want to take stuff like that, I'll go through in my next one, but start giving stuff away or selling stuff. That's another thing, but I'll cover that soon. Permanent marker or label maker. Label maker can get quite expensive, especially with the rolls. If you've got, so this is my label maker here. I didn't have this, I just used permanent marker, but this is a Dymo. You can just get, I got this from Target, and then you have the little heads which go inside. Now the heads are about $15 each, so depending on how much you use it, it can get quite costly. Where permanent marker, if you're labeling the box all the way around and on top, is just as effective. Another one which I didn't note down is fragile tape. I cannot stress that enough. I know some companies they still don't abide by it, but fragile tape is a big one, so that the removalist company knows what's fragile and what's not. Especially this way up, most boxes have that, but so they don't put them on the wrong side. Another handy tip for me, or what I used, was vacuum packed bags for your clothes. So they're not heavy in boxes. Vacuum packed, you can get lots. You can get really, really long ones, and you can get lots in them, especially when you vacuum pack them and then put them in the box. It is just so much handier than putting them all in a box and losing space, where if you can vacuum pack them and fold them, you get a ton of more in. That's definitely that's a really good tip of mine, and I found that very useful, especially since I had so many clothes to bring up with me. Some of the clothes, because we drove up, I put in my car. Yeah, but I'll cover that soon. I'm getting ahead of myself now. Number 3, we're up to 3. Sort out what you don't need and what you want to take with you. This is huge. So this is a great declutter mechanism. This will teach you what you absolutely need, what you haven't used, and what you do want to take with you. I would advise, depending on what your budget is, I would advise to sell a lot. It maximizes you making money, depending on how much time you have. Maximizes you making money, saves on removalists, and it just kind of gives you, it declutters your brain. Well, I know it does with mine. When I have things tidy, when I have things decluttered, when I have things straight and narrow, my brain feels very like clean and cluttered, uncluttered, sorry. Oh, my brain's not working, obviously it's a little cluttered right now. But if you can do that, again, you're going to make money out of it, which is going to go towards buying new things in whatever state you're moving to, everything like that. It's just going to make it easier for yourself. I love decluttering and organizing. If you've seen my Instagram stories of lately, especially, I love organizing. So if anyone needs their house organized, hit me up. Something I'm definitely looking into doing. So that's definitely my third tip. Number 4, if you can, if you've got time, sometimes you have to move quite quickly, I don't know. If you have time, make time in those however many weeks beforehand that you're moving, if you can, go and fly up to the state or down to the state that you're moving to and look for a house and put in for the house. It may take a little while. It was quite easy for us. We got the first one we applied for, and it was easy because Jamie was here. So I know that might not be for everyone, but if you can do it beforehand, it's going to make it so much easier for you to move because you can literally move straight in. That was great. So literally I could just drive up. All my boxes were already here, and I could once we got here, I could get straight into putting the house together because I still had my stuff to put together, and there was stuff that I wanted rearranged and everything like that. Jamie had done majority of it, but I wanted things where they want, because I'm quite particular sometimes. So if you can, and also research the areas. If you've got friends or family or know anyone that lives in that area, in that state, ask the questions, put it out on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere, just to kind of, so you can, I guess, see what the best area is. If you've got kids, have a look at the schools around, shopping centres. There's nothing worse than moving into an area where there's just nothing. Nowadays, it's not so bad. There is quite a few different little shops going up in that area, schools, etc. But it's just best to research because there's, I guess there's no point in moving to that area if there's not a lot around. You've got to drive. It'll just save you time in the long run, and it will be a little bit more hassle-free. So, heading on to number 5. This is just my perspective on it. I say to drive, don't fly. Depending, again, on your situation, whether you've got 5, 10 kids, you don't have that time, or you can make it a family road trip, depending on whether you need to start a job quickly, or if you've got the time, I would suggest to drive. Make a family trip out of it. So when Jamie and I left, we left and decided to drive. So he flew down, I think 2 nights before we left, and we drove, which was really cool. But this is going into oh no, it's not. I would say to plan your trip down to a T. Now, I don't think that I've covered this yet. No. So make sure you have a plan. So Jamie had planned the drive, and he only drove in my car. So I'll put some pictures up so you can see just here. We actually had the back of the car packed to the brim and the passenger seat right forward. So it was quite hard. We were going to share the driving, but because I'm so tiny, it just made sense for me to sit in the passenger seat the whole time and just Jamie to drive. But it was fun. We had so much fun. So he planned the whole trip right down to where we were staying, the mileage, how much petrol, money, everything like that. It was literally the best thing we've ever done. So we drove, so we decided to do the Great Ocean Road. So I moved from Adelaide to Brisbane. We decided to do the Great Ocean Road, take the bit of a long run. And this was over the Easter break, so it was great. Not the greatest time to do tourist attractions though, because every man and his dog was there. So we did the drive from Adelaide to Apollo Bay. Now, Apollo Bay is beautiful little town. If you ever get the chance to go and stay there, or it's something new that you want to try, Apollo Bay is just amazing. We also went there on our little mini moon. So we haven't had our honeymoon yet. We've been married for 2 years coming this May, but we haven't had our honeymoon yet. We were supposed to have it coming this May, but with isolation and COVID-19, we have cancelled our trip, which sucks, but we're going to go next June instead. So a little bit of backstory. So we did Adelaide to Apollo Bay. Then we just had one night there. So we got in that night and then we left in the morning. So we didn't get a chance to see it, but we had a really nice dinner at a place called The Vista, and we were so devastated when we went back in 2018 for our little mini moon that it was closed for renovations. The one time we decided to go there and it was closed, we was really sad, but The Vista was amazing. Like, it was such a good night. We just had drinks, and we just kind of talked, and we hadn't really got a chance to do that because when we were doing long distance, we were only together one weekend out of every month, and we would alternate. Like, I would go up to Brisbane, he would come down to Adelaide. So it was just so nice to just be in each other's company and I guess just have those memories. It's really nice. We always talk about it quite often. So that was a really, really good place. Then we did, we got up about 5 o'clock in the morning and we drove all day, and we went from Apollo Bay to Mittagong. Now, I'm not sure within this, no, it might have been after Mittagong actually. So Mittagong, I can't remember where we stayed, but it was quite, because we got in quite late as well, and honestly, where we stayed, it had no cutlery, it just had a bed and everything, but we had dinner. We got a bucket load of Thai, which we love Thai food, and we got probably too much because we were eyes bigger than belly, and we literally had no cutlery, no plates, no nothing. So when you're booking accommodation, if you're going to drive and you're going to stay overnight, check that they have that, just so you know, so you can have it with you. Then we got up in the morning, we did Mittagong to Coffs Harbour. So my parents-in-law have a little beach house at Sandy Beach in Coffs Harbour. So we drove there. Now, in the midst of driving there, we actually went to Ned Kelly Town. Now, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a big Ned Kelly. It's really, really cool. I'll pop some pictures up so you can see. But so we did that, and then so we stayed at the beach house for about 4 days over the Easter break and just had some downtime together. Probably 4 days was probably this is probably the longest time we'd ever kind of spent together, just us two. So that was kind of nice. So we stayed there 4 days, and then we drove to Brisbane in a day. Yes. And that was our trip. So if you can, drive, don't fly. If you have to fly, then that's completely fine. But yeah, try and make it a family adventure of it. We often talk about it all the time. Number 6 is research your removalist company prices. My husband and I were both fortunate that we both worked in freight at the time. So Jamie's dad was the vice president of a freight company, especially moving interstate. So we got it, we still paid, but we got it obviously at family rates, which was good. So the company is called AMI. I don't know how often they do anything like that anymore, but there is quite a few companies. Chest Removalist is one of them. I don't know about their pricing. If you've got any questions or anything like that, excuse me, just ask me in the comments below and I can give you some, I guess, some good removalist companies. I can do some research for you, I guess, being in freight. Number 7, if you're going back to number 5, for number 7, if you're going to drive, make sure you plan your trip, as I mentioned, and pack a bag of clothes, like overnight bags. Yeah, that's like the one thing, otherwise you'll have no clothes with you, you'll just be driving in the same clothes. So make sure you pack a bag, or like pack your toiletries, everything like that. Number 8, start applying for jobs. a week before you leave if you're not transferring from the state that you're living in. So what I did a week before I left, I was applying for freight jobs. So I had left my job. There was no other venues that they have in other states, so there were only one in Adelaide. So I started applying for other jobs. Now this was a great tool because I could say, hey, I'm in town next week, I'm moving up there next week, and companies loved this. It was just organized, done and done. So literally we got into Brisbane on the Monday. The Tuesday I had 3 job interviews, and by Wednesday I had a job. Now, this isn't as easy for everyone. It doesn't happen and doesn't fall into place for everyone. So I understand that, but this is just my take on it. And if you can, just start applying for jobs, because sometimes it can be quite a lot. And that's where some people go wrong. So that's my very, very hot tip. Number 9, catch up with friends before you leave. So to make it easier, we did one big going away party. So I literally catch up with everyone. I had photos with every single person. I made sure I got around and talked to every person. And it was just a great way to just say, not goodbye, but see you later. And you can visit at any time, and you can stay in touch with everyone that way. So that was a really good way to just kind of have everyone there. We also did a family dinner the night before we left, which was really good to just be like, okay, cool, we're done, ready to go. And my last tip, number 10, learn the different things that are in your state. So, or in the state that you're moving to. So what I mean by this, so in Adelaide, we didn't have any tolls, we didn't have any highways, anything like that. Here in Brisbane, you have the little toll reader in your car. It's little things like that will avoid you getting extra fees or fines or anything like that. So your state might have different rules and regulations to driving or to your fines. So I know that here the fines are so much cheaper. You probably lose more demerit points, but in Adelaide it's so much more expensive. So that's just another handy hint for me. I would just learn the different things that your state that you're moving to has. That way you're super prepared and you won't get any surprises. Well, that's it. That's my top 10 tips. If you have literally any questions, pop them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer anything. I just wanted to say I hope everyone is staying safe. I hope everyone is well. I will be doing another video soon about how to stay productive at home during this really crazy time, because I don't have a job right now and I've got all the time in the world. If you could please like and subscribe, tell your friends. I'm hoping to do more of these videos for you. And in the comments below, let me know if there's anything else that you want to cover or if you want my opinion on. I'm completely happy to give it to you. Stay safe. Stay at home, and don't forget to wash your hands. Bye!